What if the biggest lie most drivers believe is that engines die because of age? While most vehicles never even reach 150,000 miles, mine went beyond 500,000 without an engine rebuild. That was not random, it was not luck. It was the result of doing a few critical things differently, and today I am laying them all out. In this video, I'm breaking down 17 proven mechanic-backed habits that can keep your car running far longer than most owners ever imagine, even beyond 700,000 miles, while helping it stay smooth, strong, and dependable every mile of the way. And whatever you do, do not miss number 5, because that single habit can save you from the most costly failure on this list. Now let's start. The 17th trick is the clever 3K oil rule. This is where a lot of engines quietly start losing years of life. Most drivers see that 10,000-mile oil interval in the owner's manual and think they are completely safe. But that number is built around ideal test conditions, not the way cars are actually used every day. Real driving is full of traffic, short runs, long idling, hot weather, dust, and cold starts. That is the difference. Engines usually do not give up just because the mileage gets high. They wear down because the oil inside them slowly stops doing its job long before most people think it does. And once that happens, the damage does not come all at once. It builds little by little. The oil gets dirty, thins out, loses strength, and stops protecting the moving parts the way it should. Metal starts rubbing harder, heat rises, and wear keeps stacking up every time you drive. Independent 8IA research found that pushing oil changes too far can increase internal engine wear by as much as 40%. That is a huge price to pay for waiting longer. It gets even worse if your car spends most of its life in stop-and-go traffic, on short trips, or in very hot and dusty conditions. That is why so many engines that were maintained according to the manual still end up sludged, noisy, and worn out much earlier than expected. If you want the engine to stay strong for the long haul, the better approach is simple. Change the oil every 3,000 to 5,000 miles based on how the car is actually driven. In hotter areas like Texas or Arizona, a slightly thicker oil such as 5W30 can handle heat better and keep protecting the engine under pressure. In colder places like Canada or Minnesota, a lighter oil such as 0W20 flows faster during startup and helps protect the engine when it is most vulnerable. The owner's manual can tell you the right oil grade, but your weather, your driving habits, and the age of the engine should decide the interval. Use a good synthetic oil, shorten the change cycle, and you give the engine a much better chance of staying clean and healthy for years. That one move helps fight sludge, timing chain wear, and bearing damage before they get expensive. And never forget the filter. Every time the oil gets changed, the filter should go too, because it is holding the dirt and debris you do not want mixing back into fresh oil. Stay consistent with this habit, because the next one protects a part that can drain your wallet even faster. The 16th trick is the gearbox lifesaver. Most drivers do not think about transmission fluid until the car starts slipping, jerking, or shifting badly. By then, the damage may already be serious. One of the biggest myths in modern cars is lifetime transmission fluid. But in real life, that usually means it lasts through the warranty, not for the full life of the car. And the biggest reason transmission fluid fails is heat. Automatic transmissions normally run between 175-degree heat and 220-degree heat. If the temperature rises above that, the fluid starts breaking down much faster. In fact, every extra 20 degrees can cut the life of the fluid in half. That is why overheated fluid causes more than 60% of transmission failures. In many cases, the transmission does not fail first. The fluid fails first, and then the damage starts inside. If you want your transmission to last, the rule is easy. Change the ATF every 30,000 to 50,000 miles, even if the manual says you can wait longer. Fresh fluid helps keep the clutches cool, the seals healthy, and the shifting smooth. And if you tow, drive in heavy traffic, or live in a hot area, the fluid wears out even faster. That is why changing it early is much cheaper than paying for a transmission rebuild that can cost $3,000 to $5,000. There's one more thing to remember. If the transmission has not been serviced for a long time, do not start with a full power flush. That can shock the system and make the problem worse. A safer option is to do slow drain and fill services instead. Also, check for leaks and pay attention to any burnt smell in the fluid. That simple habit can help your transmission last much longer. Keep this one in mind, because the next habit can start costing you money every time you stop for gas. The quiet fuel system keeper is trick number 15. Many drivers keep adding gas after the pump clicks. It feels harmless, but it can hurt your car's fuel system. That first click is there for a reason. It tells you the tank is full enough. If you keep pumping, extra fuel can go into parts of the system that are only meant to handle fuel vapor, not liquid gas. One part at risk is the charcoal canister in the EVAP system. Its job is to catch gas vapors. It is not made to hold liquid fuel. When too much gas gets into it, the canister can become damaged. After that, small charcoal pieces can move through the lines and valves and create even more trouble. That can lead to a check engine light, a gas smell, rough idling, hard starts, and other running problems. Fixing it can cost anywhere from $400 to $200. The pump shuts off to help protect the fuel system and keep pressure balanced. When you top off the tank, you can overload that whole system. This is even worse in hot weather because fuel expands when it gets warm. That raises the chance of EVAP problems. And the bad news is that this kind of damage is often blamed on driver error, so the warranty may not cover it. So remember this simple rule: when the pump clicks the first time, stop. Do not add more. That small habit can save you from expensive repairs later. And the next habit shows a hidden problem that can slowly damage your drivetrain every time you drive. So stay with me. The engine mount death test is the 14th trick. Your engine should not shake hard while the car is sitting still. If the car vibrates too much or feels rough when you shift, bad engine mounts could be the reason. Engine mounts hold the engine in place and help absorb movement. When they wear out, the engine can move more than it should. Many drivers ignore this until something bigger goes wrong. But weak mounts can cause more than just shaking. They can put extra stress on the transmission, axles, hoses, and exhaust parts. A small problem can turn into a much bigger repair if you wait too long. Catching it early can save money. A mount may cost around $150 to fix, but the damage it causes later can push repairs close to $1,000 or more. Once the engine starts moving too much, that stress spreads to other parts of the car. You can do a simple test at home. Start the car and keep your foot firmly on the brake. Shift from park into drive and pay attention to what you feel. If the steering wheel shakes a lot, the cabin vibrates hard, or the engine jumps forward, the mounts may be worn out. Then do the same thing in reverse. Too much movement either way is a warning sign. Bad mounts do not only make the ride feel rough, they can also cause harder shifts, stretched hoses, cracked exhaust parts, and drivetrain problems. Replacing them early can make the car feel smooth again and help you avoid bigger repair bills. And the next habit talks about a common cold weather mistake that can slowly hurt your engine every morning, so keep watching. The clever warm-up is the 13th trick. A lot of people still think it is best to let a cold engine sit and idle for 5 or 10 minutes before driving. That used to sound like smart advice, but with modern cars, it is usually not the best way to warm up the engine. Letting the engine idle too long when it is cold can increase wear. It can also let extra fuel mix with the oil and wash fuel onto the cylinder walls. That means more stress on the engine and less protection where it matters most. It also wastes gas. The better way is simple. Start the engine, wait about 20 to 30 seconds, then begin driving gently. That short wait gives the oil time to start moving through the engine. After that, light driving helps the engine warm up faster and more safely than sitting still for a long time. When you drive softly after starting, the engine reaches normal temperature sooner. That can mean less wear, better fuel use, and smoother performance. Many drivers also notice fewer cold start noises and smoother shifting in winter. So forget the old habit of long warm-ups. Start the car, give it a few seconds, and drive gently until it warms up. I appreciate you staying with me this far. It shows you really care about keeping your car in good shape for a long time. Like and subscribe for more simple high-mileage tips that can save you money and help your vehicle last longer. The next habits are even more powerful. Coolant truth check is trick number 12. An engine usually does not overheat without warning. Most of the time, the cooling system has been getting weaker for a long time before the real problem appears. Many drivers trust coolant that says it lasts 100,000 miles, but in real driving conditions, coolant often breaks down sooner than expected. As it gets older, it slowly turns more harmful, loses its power to protect metal parts, and starts damaging aluminum components from the inside. You may not notice anything at first, but bad coolant can create serious trouble. Before steam ever comes out from under the hood, worn-out coolant can already increase the chance of head gasket failure. A simple drain test can tell you a lot. Take a small sample from the petcock or lower radiator hose and look at it carefully. Good coolant should look bright and clean. If it looks rusty, brown, thick, dirty, or full of particles, the system needs to be flushed and refilled. Before adding fresh coolant, check for small leaks. Look around the radiator, hose clamps, and water pump for green, pink, or orange marks. Those stains often show that coolant is escaping. Small leaks are usually cheap to fix early, but if they are ignored, the engine can overheat fast and warp the cylinder head in only a few minutes. No matter what the manual says, changing coolant every 30,000 to 50,000 miles is a much safer habit. This is not just basic maintenance, it is protection against one of the fastest ways to destroy an engine. And the next habit protects another system most people ignore until it starts failing. Fuel that resists is the 11th trick. Using low-quality fuel may seem harmless, but it can wear out an engine much faster than most people think. The damage does not always show up right away, which is why many drivers never realize it is happening. Still, every drop of weak, low-detergent fuel affects the injectors, intake valves, and combustion chambers. In modern engines, especially GDI engines, this matters even more because fuel is sprayed at extremely high pressure. When deposits start forming, even tiny ones can disturb the spray pattern and hurt combustion. AA fuel testing showed that engines running on non-top-tier fuel built up far more carbon in a short distance. That buildup steals power, hurts fuel economy, and puts extra stress on important engine parts. The good part is that the fix is easy. Use top-tier gasoline whenever you can, and every 3,000 to 4,000 miles, add a good injector cleaner. That simple step helps clean deposits, improve spray flow, and keep the combustion chamber cleaner. Many vehicles, including Hyundai, BMW, Toyota, and Chevy models, can feel smoother and more responsive after a proper cleaning cycle. The engine idles better, throttle response improves, and the fuel system stays in better shape. Stay consistent with this habit, and you help your engine stay sharp instead of slowly getting choked by carbon. And that brings us to the next habit, which focuses on a hidden part that can shake the whole car when it starts wearing out. The Shift Smart ritual is the 10th trick. The transmission is one of the most expensive parts in your car, yet many people damage it little by little without even knowing it. Fast shifts, hard changes into reverse, or putting the car in park before it fully stops all create sudden shock inside the gearbox. These small impacts may not seem serious at the moment, but over time they wear down gears, clutch packs, and internal parts. According to AAMCO, poor shifting habits are behind a large number of early transmission problems, even in cars that do not have very high mileage. The Shift Smart ritual is simple but powerful. Always let the car stop fully before changing direction. Wait a second before shifting into reverse and never move the lever into park while the car is still rolling. That short pause helps protect the parking pawl, gear sets, and clutch components from grinding under pressure. This small habit can make a big difference over the life of the vehicle. Cars like the Toyota Camry and Honda Accord often last for hundreds of thousands of miles, and one reason is that careful owners do not abuse the transmission. Treat the gearbox gently, and it will usually reward you with a much longer life. And the next trick is not about shifting at all. It is about how to protect something else inside the engine that many drivers never even think about. The resurrection of carbon cleanliness is trick number 9. Carbon buildup is one of the most overlooked problems in modern engines, especially GDI engines. In older engines, fuel would pass over the intake valves and help keep them cleaner. But in GDI engines, fuel goes straight into the cylinder, so the intake valves do not get that cleaning effect. Over time, sticky carbon starts collecting on the valves, pistons, and intake passages. As that buildup grows, airflow gets weaker, fuel efficiency drops, and misfires can begin. SAE research has shown that this kind of carbon buildup can reduce power and efficiency in GDI engines over time. The engine may start feeling less responsive, the idle may get rough, and fuel mileage may suddenly get worse. These are often early signs that carbon deposits are already forming inside. The solution is to clean the system before the buildup becomes severe. Every 40,000 to 60,000 miles, a proper carbon cleaning service can help restore airflow and improve combustion. This can be done through chemical cleaning, walnut blasting, or a trusted induction service. It is especially helpful in many turbocharged cars like Audi, BMW, and Hyundai models. Think of it as helping the engine breathe freely again. When the valves stay clean, the engine runs smoother, responds better, and keeps more of its original strength. The parking power protector is the 8th trick. When drivers shift into park, many assume the car is fully secured and there is nothing else to think about. But one common habit quietly puts a lot of stress on the parking pawl, which is a small but critical part inside the transmission. On a slope, if the handbrake is not used first, the full weight of the vehicle can press against that tiny metal lock. Over time, that strain can lead to expensive damage, with repairs often falling between $900 and $1,500. Mechanics see this problem often, especially on SUVs and vehicles that have spent years being parked in P without the parking brake ever being set. The better method is simple. Apply the handbrake first, let the vehicle settle into place, and then shift into park. That moves the load to the brake system instead of forcing the transmission to carry it. Gearbox specialists say this small routine can greatly reduce pole wear, especially in older Hondas, Toyotas, and Subarus that tend to deal with heavier drivetrain stress. The best part is that this quick 3-second habit works on automatics, CVTs, and even EVs that use a physical parking mechanism. It is a tiny step, but it can save thousands in repair costs and help your transmission stay healthy well past 200,000 miles. Think of it as basic protection, not an optional extra. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch. Most drivers never learn these simple habits that can make a huge difference over the life of a car. If this has been helpful so far, make sure to hit like and subscribe. There are more proven tips ahead that can help your vehicle stay strong and reliable for hundreds of thousands of miles. The 7th trick is to protect the electrical lines. Your car's electrical system depends on only a few major cables, but they are some of the most ignored parts under the hood. When battery terminals weaken or ground connections start to corrode, the problem is not limited to slow cranking. It can trigger all kinds of strange issues, from sensor errors and ECU trouble to transmission-related problems that seem completely unrelated. According to ASE technicians, nearly 30% of confusing electrical faults come from bad grounds rather than failed components. That means many drivers end up replacing expensive parts like alternators and sensors when the real problem could have been fixed with a simple cable cleaning. The good news is that this is easy to check. Open the hood and inspect the battery terminals along with the ground connections on the engine block and chassis. Look for loose clamps, frayed wires, or that white crusty buildup that signals corrosion. I'll clean the connections with a wire brush, tighten everything properly, and add a light coat of dielectric grease to help keep moisture and corrosion away. Doing this at every oil change helps maintain steady voltage, protects the alternator, and reduces the chances of hard starts, especially in cold weather when the battery is under more stress. It is a fast and inexpensive habit, but it can save you from repair bills in the $300 to $900 range. And once your electrical foundation is solid, the next trick becomes even more effective because it resets a system. Many drivers do not even realize their car is constantly adapting. Throttle reset magic is trick number 6. The throttle body is one of the most misunderstood parts of a modern engine, and when it gets out of sync, you can feel it right away. It often happens after a battery replacement, a jump start, or simply after years of stop-and-go driving. The car may start feeling lazy, the idle may turn rough, the throttle may respond late, or the revs may hang for a moment after you lift your foot off the pedal. Here's the surprising part. In many cases, those symptoms are not caused by a broken part. They come from confused adaptive settings. Modern vehicles constantly learn airflow, fuel trims, and driving behavior. Over time, that learned data can become messy and start working against smooth performance. A throttle reset helps clear that bad behavior and gives the car a chance to relearn the proper idle and throttle response. Many newer vehicles can benefit from it, including models from Nissan, Toyota, Honda, BMW, and Ford. For example, one 2016 Toyota Camry owner noticed smoother idling and quicker throttle response immediately after performing a reset, without replacing any parts at all. The process is quick and takes less than 2 minutes. Turn the engine off, switch the key on, and press the gas pedal all the way down for 10 seconds. Then turn it off, release the pedal, restart the engine, and let it idle while the system recalibrates. It is that simple. And if the car still feels rough after that, the next habit attacks the problem from a completely different direction. Coast like a pro is trick number 5. Most drivers rush toward a stoplight and wait until the last moment to brake hard. That habit may feel normal, but it slowly damages the braking system. The main reason is heat. When you brake suddenly, the rotors can get extremely hot, sometimes rising above 500°C. Over time, that heat can cause the surface to glaze, the rotors to warp, and small cracks to form. Consumer Reports says drivers who brake late often replace their rotors twice as often and wear out their brake pads about 40% faster than drivers who slow down earlier. That is why coasting is so useful. When you lift off the accelerator 5 to 10 seconds sooner, the engine helps slow the car naturally and reduces stress on the brakes. This keeps brake temperatures more stable. Hybrid cars like the Toyota Prius and Honda Insight do this automatically, which is why their brake parts often last more than 120,000 miles. You can practice this yourself on the road. When you see traffic ahead, a curve coming, or a downhill section, take your foot off the gas early. The car will slow down in a smoother way and the brakes will feel less strained. The next habit helps protect your engine from a hidden fuel problem that many people miss. The fourth trick is to test the gasoline filter. The gasoline filter is one of the smaller parts in a car, but it plays a big role. As time passes, tiny bits of rust, dirt, and sediment from the fuel tank collect inside the filter. Little by little, this buildup blocks the flow of fuel. When that happens, the engine may not get enough gasoline, especially when it needs extra power. That is why a clogged filter can make a car hesitate during acceleration, struggle on hills, or feel weak even with a full tank. In severe cases, the added pressure can overwork the fuel pump and cause it to overheat. Repairing that problem can cost between $600 and $200. The good part is that the signs are usually easy to notice. If the engine stumbles, jerks, or feels starved when you press the accelerator hard, like when merging onto a freeway, the filter may be clogged. Most manufacturers suggest replacing it every 30,000 to 50,000 miles. In dusty areas or in cars with older fuel tanks, it may need to be changed sooner. Replacing a filter that costs around $30 can help prevent much larger repair bills and protect the engine, injectors, and fuel pump. The next habit protects an important part of the braking system that many drivers forget about. Life-saving brake fluid flush is the third trick. Brake fluid is one of the most ignored fluids in a car, even though it does one of the most important jobs. Every time you press the brake pedal, this fluid helps stop the vehicle. What many drivers do not know is that brake fluid absorbs moisture from the air over time. This means that after about 2 years, even a small amount of water in the fluid can greatly lower its boiling point. Once the moisture level reaches around 3%, the boiling point can drop by nearly half. That becomes dangerous during heavy braking, such as in traffic or on long downhill roads. If the fluid gets too hot and starts to boil, you can lose brake pressure, braking power, and control of the pedal. Studies from the National Highway Institute show that contaminated brake fluid is a major cause of ABS pump failure, and replacing that system often costs more than $1,000. A simple brake fluid flush every 2 to 3 years helps remove moisture, prevent corrosion, and protect the ABS system. It also keeps the brake pedal feeling firm and responsive. Keep this fluid fresh because the next habit protects the spark that powers every engine explosion. The second trick is the effectiveness of high-quality plugs. Cheap spark plugs may save money at first, but they can slowly hurt engine performance, fuel economy, and smooth driving. In modern engines, plugs fire thousands of times every minute, so even a small drop in spark quality can affect combustion. Bad or worn plugs can cause misfires, reduce fuel efficiency by up to 30%, and put extra strain on the catalytic converter. In one real case, a 2014 Toyota Camry owner ignored weak plugs for 40,000 miles and ended up paying $980 for repairs that could have been avoided with a simple $60 a plug change. The fix is easy. Use Iridium or OEM grade plugs and replace them on time. Cheap plugs cost less now but more later. Good plugs help your engine idle smoothly, accelerate better, and protect expensive parts. The next habit is just as simple, but it protects another major part of your car. First trick, the rule of the quarter tank. Most drivers do not realize the fuel pump works hardest when the tank is nearly empty. Fuel helps keep the pump cool, so when you drive below a quarter tank too often, the pump starts running hotter and wearing out faster. Studies show that pumps under low fuel conditions can run up to 40 degrees hotter, which plays a big role in early failure. Low fuel can also pull dirt and sediment from the bottom of the tank into the fuel system, which may clog injectors and hurt acceleration. Keeping your tank above 1/4 helps prevent all of that. It keeps the pump cooler, lowers strain, and helps keep debris from causing trouble. It is a small habit, but it protects a part that can cost $600 to $1,200 to replace. Simple habit, big benefit. And there you have it, the behaviors that subtly propel regular cars into the 300,000-mile club and beyond. These habits are small, but the difference they make is huge over time. If even one of these tips helped, like the video, subscribe, and share your car's mileage in the comments.